And for that, I also created the. I'm not really sure if it helps if I show it here, but basically a feature, the watchdog. And what it does is it basically keeps a tab on the action history, and when the let's see over here, it executes like the normal thought process of the agent, and then it takes the resulting command name and command arcs that are proposed by the agent. And if those match the previously executed one, it says, wait, this is repetitive behavior. It switches to GPT-4 for one cycle, reevaluates the prompt, and then switches back to GPT 3.5. So this really helps to get out of loops. It hugely increases the like the token efficiency of the program, because you can just run it on GPT 3.5. At some point, it will start looping when it's supposed to stop executing because its assignment is done. I'll try to get it to actually understand that you can also just terminate when your assignment is over, but until then, this works fine because GPT-4 will figure it out and then terminate for it. Um, and well, I mean, it doesn't do anything if you run it on GPT-4, but that's fine. I haven't. Let's see. Have I? Yeah. So to clarify, these benchmark runs are all done with GPT 3.5 as like the main LLM that the agent uses. Um, and I'm trying to get as much green here as possible, of course, so you can see the agent understands and can complete the challenges. And apparently that's possible with GPT 3.5, so that's really cool. I think one of the next steps, aside from getting increasing our handling of history, because right now it's not truncated. So if you go beyond a certain number of cycles or a certain amount of content returned by commands, it will exceed the limit for the LLM and crash. So we need to have a truncation mechanism and summarization mechanism to summarize the history once it goes beyond the certain threshold. And then also, I think at some point we're going to need like specialized agents for certain tasks, because um, in order to get it to perform, you really have to provide very detailed instructions to GPT 3.5, and it grows the prompt, and at some point it's too many different instructions to really still be comprehended by GPT 3.5. So I think we might have to split off certain functionality into sub agents, um, and yeah, of course, stuff like that history handling. Um, let's see, other stuff. Oh yeah, I changed a couple commands because, for example, execute Python code. It would create a file with a specified name and execute it, and the result was that the LLM would figure, oh wait, so I can create this file and then import it from a execute Python code command. That doesn't work because the code file was not created in the same location. So importing, like relative imports, don't work that way. So I removed the like the name argument for the name of the file, and now it's just a temporary file. It's created, run, and deleted, which means we can do it in the same location as the rest of the files are executed, which really helps with the comprehension of the LLM to use these commands effectively. So this is what caused some of the progress on the debug challenges like this. Um, Now for the next weeks, um, I mean, of course, I'm going to continue working on this just to improve as much of the performance as possible. But I'll also make a list of items that need to be ticked off and fixed in AutoGPT. I'll put those on the project board as issues, and then leave it to, well, if anyone wants to pick those up, they're free to do so. And I'll stop looking at pull requests, or at least give them lower priority if they're not linked to one of those issues, because um, yeah, there's just we have a vision, we have a lot of ideas of things that would be really effective in improving the performance, and stuff like supporting different LLMs is also cool. But that's not actually something that improves performance. So that's a bit lower on our agenda. It will come eventually, but right now, to improve performance, there are just different things that we need to focus on. And I'll make a list of those things, put them on the project board. And if you want to contribute, you can dibs one of those items, um, and try to make something that fixes them.
Wonderful. Thank you for that update. Super exciting stuff. Nice to see the benchmark being used. And you looks like a lot of positive changes are being made. That's really good to see.
Mhm.
There's one question in the chat that's related to this. Do you have any specific examples that causes it to loop? And then the counterfactual to that is, Scott, when would a valid use case of repetitive task be after post answers?
I mean, I can't really give a specific example. It just happens pretty regularly, especially when the agent nears the end of its task. So it will complete the goals stated in the prompt, and then it will say, okay, now I want to evaluate the result and list the files in the directory and browse the web to see if I can do more. And that's the point where it usually starts to loop. When like the clearly defined part of its assignment is over, and it's just trying to do something, even though that's not really part of the assignment. As to repetitive, like supporting repetitive actions, sure, I can see that there would be use cases where you would want it to execute something multiple times. um, but at the moment, there really isn't a use case for executing the same command with the same arguments 2 times in a row. If someone can give me one of those cases, then I'll be happy to look at a way to make it optional. But until then, this it fixes a lot of issues, and I would say that if you have an agent execute the same thing twice in a row, then maybe there's a more efficient way to do it. So
Yeah, I think you make a good point. Like, I can definitely think of some use cases. Like, if you wanted to, I don't know, like generate an image with the same prompts like 10 times, so that's a valid use case. But you should be doing that in a script, really, and the agent should also be doing it in a script if you're using the agent, really, shouldn't it?
yeah,
Um, but it is an interesting point. If there were like loads of use cases for that, then maybe like there could be a way for an agent to execute a command 10 times, but I can't really see there being that much demand.
I see a question in the chat. The loops that would appear could be anywhere from 2 repetitions to an infinite amount of repetitions until the allotted time for the challenge runs out. So sometimes it would get out of it on its own after like 4 or 5 or 8 iterations. Um,
The
but
question could be, sorry to interject there, but could be asking, like, do you see a loop where it goes like A, B, A, B, or like A, B, C, A, B, C, you know what I mean? Like three different commands, which is an interesting question because if it does do that, does the watchdog detect it?
oh, like that, yeah. Um,
Hmm,
no, it doesn't. I haven't seen loops like that yet.
no.
Um, but again, if people can provide examples of that happening, then of course we need to look at that.
I came across an interesting loop this week while I was doing some tasks through the API. For some reason, it was allowing responses greater than the context of my API key to come through. Well, to try and push it through, but obviously it wouldn't come through because I've not got a key greater than 8K, but it would just keep looping. And it would just keep presenting the previous reply over and over. And I only realized that by checking the terminal in VS Code, and it was stated the error message.
Yeah, so I think that's caused by the lack of truncation in our history management.
I love this discussion that's going on. I think there's a lot of interesting developments for this potentially. Can we throw a thread in deb AutoGPT? Maybe I can send one as well after. I'll just send like a looping and then just make it into a thread and then talk about it there. In the meantime, let's move on to front end Hunter, if you're there.
Yeah, hey, how's it going, guys? I've been spending the last month or so working on the UI that we're hoping to have people use rather than having to resort to the command line for a lot of these operations. As we like try to trend towards using the agent protocol for all agents and trying to push this as a standardization for all agents to adhere to, then we made the UI with that in mind as well. The agent protocol is essentially a collection of REST APIs that kind of tell the agent how it can communicate, and we have this concept of both tasks, which you can think of as kind of like conversations with the agent, and then individual steps within those, so like chat bubbles inside of these tasks. And so we created the UI in a way that adheres to this agent protocol. And so currently it's tucked away in the front end subdirectory of the Forge repo if you wanted to go take a look at our current state. But kind of an overview of where we're at with that right now is it's plugged into the Forge. There's like a dummy agent, you could say, in the Forge, and we've wired the UI up to that. And currently it has the ability to grab all the tasks that the agent currently has through these REST APIs. It has the ability to, for each individual task or conversation, it can query the actual chats that you've had with this agent, so you can view all your history on a task-to-task basis. And yeah, you can essentially, similar to what you would see with a ChatGPT type interface, where you have conversations and you can go into each one of these individual conversations. We've supported that as well, where you can basically query the current state of a task going on, and you can send some feedback, or you can tell it to proceed to the next step. And yeah, I would love for you guys to go take a look at that and give any feedback that you might have. We're in early stages of getting it all put together in time for the hackathon, so I'd love any playing around and trying to break it, and let us know if you come across any issues.
We're finally gonna have a UI. This is exciting stuff. I know you've been working really hard at that, so it's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's very excited.
This is really an update of just wild things you've just been working on in the background, isn't it? This maintainers meeting has a lot of interesting things.
Soon it'll be in the
Leo.
Oh, go ahead.
Leo, the hackathon is a virtual hackathon. It's AutoGPT Arena Hacks. The dates, have we announced those?
Yeah, September 22nd to October 12th. The official announcement that's going to add everyone is going to go out tomorrow morning.
Cool. Just want to make sure before I give them out that we had announced them.
Yes. I think I'm going to bring it full circle. I'm going to talk about the benchmark, and then I'm going to ask Marwan to bring it full circle with the Forge. So that beautiful thing that Post is currently sharing, that shows all of our different benchmark challenges. What is the benchmark? At the start of the repo, AutoGPT was getting thousands of pull requests, and it's pretty much impossible to review them all and to see if they're actually improving or not, improving the actual code of the repo or not. And so we thought, how can we automate this process, and how can we objectively see if when you change a prompt or you change code, it's improving your entire agent. And that was where the benchmark repo was born. And we currently integrate with like I think 8 or 9 different agents, obviously including AutoGPT. And there's some development going on in time for the hackathon, so that we have like different verticals that people can win prize money on. I'll speak a little bit about it. There's a general category where you win 15K cash if you perform the best across all the categories. Then there's also category specific prizes. An example of one is a data category where you're essentially given CSVs and you're like, can you impute this data? Can you sort this data? Can you add to this data? Can you summarize this data? So data related challenges pretty much. And there's a few other verticals that you guys would be interested in. So kind of preparing the benchmark for that. Marwan has been huge for that as well. I'll send a quick, this whimsical is kind of what we're working off of for the benchmark kind of design work and some of the paper stuff as well. So if you're interested in learning more, read through that. You know, I'm here, Marwan's here, and the benchmark channel is your place to go. And I'll hand it off to Marwan to bring it full circle with the Forge and mention anything else regarding the benchmarks.
So just to finish with the benchmark, I added a task which is to build a battleship game without the UI. Why without the UI? Because it's harder to test UIs of a battleship, so interface of a battleship game. It will ask you to build a backend during the hackathon, the battleship game, and it's very hard coding tasks, and the tests are pre-written because it would have been too loose and unclear what is expected if there was no test. For this type of challenge, you are actually expected to pass tests that are pre-written for you. So it's a specific coding task that doesn't make it less hard. So how are you going to these challenges? How are you going to beat the benchmark and win the hackathon, right? So you could build your own agent. We have we defined a standard of what the protocol is. We even have a testing suite you can plug your agent into. If you do that, you can expect to spend a little bit of time making it work, because the agent protocol should be easily understandable. And I'm going to pass a link to the latest endpoint here, Luciano Postman. For the people that don't really want to care about this, you can fork what we call the Forge. So the Forge is the combination of benchmark, UI, and a stem cell agent. So we already talked about the benchmark and the UI. Allow you to evaluate your agent, and they allow you to see what your agent is doing. You need an agent, right? So the Forge, the stem cell agent is like a boilerplate of a very simple agent. And it has the protocol integrated. It has some prompting mechanism that you can obviously override while you're working on the hackathon to suit your needs. And really, that's it. We encourage you. We've sent the link of the AutoGPT Forge. We encourage you to look at it and to use it during the hackathon. Because if you don't, we won't be able to benchmark you. The benchmark is using the agent protocol. And so you won't be able to win the hackathon, even though you might have the best agent, because we just don't know how to communicate with you. That's it.
Amazing, exciting stuff. So to be eligible for the hackathon as well, you're going to have to clone the Forge, which will be in a different repo tomorrow. So that's kind of everyone's starting point, and it'll allow you to automatically integrate with the agent protocol and make you eligible to, well, first of all, it'll allow you to integrate with the agent protocol, but it'll also automatically integrate with the UI and the benchmark. So it makes your life 100 times easier. And the only opinions that we have in terms of the benchmark is the agent protocol. Other than that, it's meant to be a stem cell that you can use to build whatever best agent you want to build. There's no other specific people I wanted to. Nick, do you have something to say?
Yeah, and critically for the agent protocol, it's still in development. If it doesn't work for you, open a RFC. Tell us what doesn't work, and we'll make it work. Right? That's what we do here. We make things magic happen. So let us know if it's not working for you. We'll make sure it works.
I don't have any other specific people I wanted to call upon for development, but if anyone has been working anything or wants to share, I'm going to pause for like 5 seconds. Cool. Let's move on to documentation then. Is there any updates here?
Developer document, up-to-date developer documentation incoming.
Wonderful.
Well,
I
I'd like to
know
hear.
Lab has also been, for the hackathon, they're going to be working on some tutorials around the Forge and the benchmarks and some of the hackathon related stuff as well. So if that counts as documentation, we're going to have that as well at some point. Let's move on to collaboration. If anyone has anything to mention.
Well, nothing very concrete yet. But if anyone is interested in an AutoGPT meetup, wherever they're at, let us know.
We're sending puts on a traveling adventure. No, I kid. But we do have people all over the world. So I'd love to get a little bit of info on where y'all are so we can know if that's something y'all are interested in.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, maybe we can put out like a survey or something with an everyone, kind of like the general locations of a lot of the community members could help like determine where good meetup spots would be.
Yeah, I mean, people saying they're interested. Please also mention where, because that's kind of important for the idea of a meetup.
Oh, I thought we were all just coming to your house.
I mean, you're welcome to. I think we can fit like 40 people, maybe 60.
Why don't we use your house as a venue for the hackathon? I feel like that would have been.
I mean, we have a room available right now, so we can probably fit like a couple desks in there, and and our Wi-Fi is fine, so
perfect.
So if anyone who's listening is interested in, there's an application form that Puts is going to send to be his roommate.
But for real, we'll post a little form for where you're located if you want to see a meetup.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for the form.
And maybe also a separate one for being Puts' roommate, I guess.
The other thing I wanted to talk about regarding collaboration is we are getting together, the coolest list we can for the virtual hackathon so that you guys are engaged and interested. As mentioned, we are talking to some of the biggest agent developers already, but if there's anyone you would like to see, or there's anyone you're in touch with, do message me or send a message in one of the chats and tag me. And we'll try to get them as a speaker or get them involved. And the second point here is we will need help marketing and getting the news out there for the hackathon. It's a wonderful opportunity for people to win some good cash money and to get eyes on their project. and be motivated to work on an agent. I would guess a lot of you and the people who are here currently in the audience are super interested in agents. If you're listening to us speak, and probably a lot of you have thought about building an agent. So this is kind of the perfect opportunity to do so. And again, the link will be sent tomorrow morning officially. So 24 hours, just to be more precise. We have puts his place in the agenda. um,
Yeah, my place is now
visibility is
the headquarters of AutoGPT.
Visibility is the next item on the agenda. If anyone has anything here.
I don't think I have any this week to make like any projects this week other than Evo Ninja to call out for visibility. And we already talked about that a little bit, but I just want to say again, congrats to that team.
Yes. Huge win there. I think they won what 2,500 in cash along with some other stuff. So that's pretty big. First place. And just so everyone's aware, media's on that team. So it's him and 4 other people, I think.
Yeah, we're also thinking of like what to do next with that prize. So essentially, we're gonna give it forward to the community. It's sort of like a hackathon. But first, we're making sure that the agent is solid and able to, achieve at least the most basic stuff. So yeah, I think thanks for highlighting again. We were also thinking of ways to like improve sort of like engagement overall. So we're thinking of creating sort of like a leaderboard where we have people collaborate and earn points throughout the, you know, um, throughout maybe making PRs or updating the prompts. So we're seeing of ways to make it, more collaborative. And yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Amazing. If there's nothing else on visibility, I probably should have asked this when I was speaking. But can everyone just throw in a speaker they would like to see at the virtual hackathon, or just in general? Like, who do you think would be cool to talk or give a workshop, or yeah, just throw it in the chat. I'll just leave that kind of open ended. We'll see what we can make happen. So we have no facilities other than Putz's house. So that's the unofficial team's offices. Next we have release review in the discussions.
Yeah, so not much has changed since last week. I mean, yeah, okay, a lot of progress has been made with regards to performance, but where we're at right now needs to be polished a little bit before I'm comfortable making a release out of it. At least fixing that history management issue. So no release pending right now.
Great, thanks for the update. Team inventory. Is there anything in particular we need to talk about here?
I don't think we have any changes to the team.
Not really, no, but I do see a lot of people being interested in contributing. So, I mean, I'm doing my best to leverage that.
All right, wonderful. Last point, or I guess the or second last, because we have questions from the stage as well. But second last thing is plan time for unplanned questions and discussions. And I think Bentley, you had something here.
Well, I think it would make sense if you had people authenticate themselves through your bot. You know, because I think GitHub supports. Does it support OAuth? In any case, I've been waiting for a bot that that can do GitHub actions from Discord as yourself for a really long time. So that would be a really cool feature. It would also solve the permissions issue, because if I can just authenticate myself, I'll give your bot an API key or something in a DM, and then it can authenticate my actions as myself when I'm trying to use commands. You better not leak my API keys, though.
Scott, my calendar is going to be freeing up a little bit more soon. That is something I could probably take on in a week, if that sounds about right. I'll need to check a little bit more, but fixing up plugins is definitely on my to-do list to make plugins like usable, not only just for us, but maybe through like the agent protocol or something similar, and making them a little bit more robust. So we'll definitely chat about that a little bit more.
I saw Luke and Turbo made a thread also. They said that they were going to try to go through and update and fix some plugins. So maybe we can all collaborate.
That sounds awesome. Do we know who Turbo is and if they have wiki access? I don't think I've met Turbo.
I think that's the name that was there. I'm not 100% sure.
No worries.
Is Luke working on Turbo? Might be Luke's thing.
Oh, Turbo's the project. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. My
Yeah.
bad. Scott. Very cool.
Right. Yeah, I think that sounds great as long as there's clear communication around that, because we definitely, the plugins have been left behind a bit, so they'll need to be updated to be compatible with the protocol and like future thinking. So we need to avoid, revamping that, like Luke revamping that without realizing what's happening, and then having to do it twice.
Yep.
Don't waste anyone's time.
Yeah, I would second that. Let's chat about the right way to do this offline, just to make sure future compliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I also feel that the current plugin structure is kind of outdated. Like some hooks feel like I don't know, like basically a plugin is just one big class definition, and some of the available hooks are not really optimally defined or named or whatever. And of course, having a certain plugin system prescribes a specific program structure, which is also not ideal. So we kind of need to think about like the bigger picture when thinking about fixing up the plugin system.
Cool. I'll create an invite for that. If anybody else needs to be on that, we can do that. I'm putting Puts, Luke, Torin, and myself for now. Anybody else need to be in that? Scott, you need to be in that. or you don't have
Can
to.
we? Is it possible to make it a thread in Dev AutoGPT for now, and then if there's specific things that need to be discussed, we take it sync or make a
Yeah.
meeting out of it?
Yeah, for sure. I had specific things I needed to discuss.
Cool. Okay.
They don't. It can be like a 15-minute though, I think.
Salin, you're muted.
Thank you, Puss. If I was just saying, if anyone has questions from the audience, they want to throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll still have like 7 minutes of unplanned questions and discussions. If anyone has anything to bring up,
I see Luke joined.
should we get him up here?
Not sure if you had anything to add, but
No, nothing to add. Sorry, day job. Sorry.
You're
Hope
good.
everyone-
You just missed us talking about you. We were talking about revamping the plugins a little bit. What that's going to look like. My availability is opening up a lot more soon.
Okay.
So we're going to be figuring out, because I know you've done some work with this for Turbo. We're going to be
Mhm.
trying to set up something to figure this out. Silent proposed a bit of a thread and
Right. Yep.
the dev chat.
Sounds good.
From there. I forget my camera's not over here anymore, so I keep looking over here at y'all, and it's just not there. There we go. Okay, is that better? Anything else, Alan?
There was a question. By the way, I'm only connected to the Discord channel. Is there a calendar email notification that I can subscribe to so I wouldn't miss next maintainer meeting? Bentley is probably the best person.
Sounds awesome.
Wonderful. I'm gonna pause for 5 seconds to see if there's any more questions or anything. Anyone has anything else to say? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting.
Got some people typing.
Wait for them to finish typing and then see if. Man, the anticipation.
Leo, I hope what you're saying is important. Not kidding. Don't put you on the spot there.
well, pretty much we would like everything to be labeled. So things that are labeled, that just means that someone has taken a look at it and assigned the appropriate labels. Things that we want to fix first, I'm not sure we really have a short list of that at the moment. But as I said, I'll be making like a short list of issues that we need to have addressed in the near future. Put those on GitHub, make sure that they're that you can find them, and then prioritize pull requests that address those issues. So
Amazing. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see any more questions in the chat. Thank you everyone for attending, and same time, same place next week. So looking forward to seeing everyone there. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
see you next week. Thank you.
Bentley, you can close it out.